Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Before we get into the workshop, let me take a quick moment to tell you about who we are at 10x International School. We are a school that specializes only in high school education, grades 9 to 12, because we believe these 4 years are the real launchpad for life. In just 3 years, our students have already built scalable projects vetted by industry experts, published research papers, and delivered meaningful community projects. It's proof that high school doesn't have to be a waiting period. It can be a place where innovation, purpose, and impact begin. We also are very excited to share that we have a new campus coming up in Dhammasandra, which will give us more room to scale our vision of innovation and student agency. One of the key ways we do this is through something we call life entrepreneurship or LE. Simply put, LE is about helping students learn to design their own lives, to find purpose, to take risks, to build resilience, and to create value for themselves and for society. It's a program that blends academics with real world adaptability, giving our students both an edge in university admissions and the confidence to thrive in life beyond. This evening, you'll get to experience what LE really means. And now, to take us through this journey, let me hand it over to Ms. Bandya, our faculty for Life Entrepreneurship, who will guide you through this workshop.
I'm the Life Entrepreneurship faculty at 10x. So I will take you through the philosophy of this department, how it came about, and how we see it as a good fit to help students become future ready. So this is the agenda for today's session. We will be talking first about what is life entrepreneurship. Why did we use that those two words to describe what we do? And I also want to talk to you a little about why it is important for teenagers today. And then I will take you to how 10x delivers LE in practice and a little about where it leads your child. And I will also show you some of the outcomes that our students have brought about in the last couple of years. So, when you think back to your own teenage years, which skill do you wish you had learned earlier? You can use the code and mark your answers. Okay, this is great. So, we have two votes one for take risks and bounce back from failure. We have two votes to manage money and create opportunities. Great. So, what is life entrepreneurship? So, simply put, um, it is two basic building blocks of life coming together. One is the life aspect, where we talk about being equipped with the tools to design and discover our own life, which is led by purpose. And we make choices with self awareness. We build meaningful relationships and we strive to create impact, not just for ourselves, but beyond ourselves. And then we transition to the entrepreneurship aspect of it, where identifying opportunities is also a skill one can acquire, and risk taking is an attitude we can build. And ultimately, with the amalgamation of the two, we strive to create value. So that is why we call this department the Life Entrepreneurship Department, where we look at building one's own life with the same conviction, direction, like we build our own startups. So a startup has a vision, a startup has a mission, and then it has its core values. Any business, not just a startup, any business has it. So why not apply the same principles to our life? That is the foundation of the thought we have at 10x, where we have a very bespoke curriculum that we have designed in house, where we equip our kids and train them on the tools that are required to become a life entrepreneur. So, in summary, a life entrepreneur will be able to do all the things that I just described. So, if you had to describe what you want most for your child in one word, what would it be? Creative. Okay. Any dreams? Leadership. Progressive mindset. Superb. Self-sustaining. Self-sustaining, so important. We'll see in the upcoming slides how this matters the most, at least in the next decade. So that is where we are heading. We want to see why being creative, being self-sustaining, future ready, all of this is important for teenagers. You as parents must already be aware of where the world is heading. You must be reading what are the currently trending jobs. You yourselves must be in positions where you are seeing the latest updates in technology and the variables in critical thinking. So this is what we drew up from Forbes Skills for the Future. This is a forecast for the next 1 decade, and the top skills are these. One is digital literacy. The second one is emotional intelligence, flexibility. Yes, somebody said adapting and future ready. So flexibility, there you go. Leadership and social influence, continuous learning and self development. These are also super important for self sustenance, interpersonal communication skills. So these are the top skills listed by Forbes and many other platforms. Even um, our very own Economic Times has a forecast for India on this. And you, as parents, obviously, you know better what a child needs, what your children need in the next coming years. And this is exactly what we equip our students with. Our curriculum is made in such a way that children easily and in a very enjoyable manner navigate and learn all these things. For us, when we mean digital literacy, it's not just knowing what tools exist and how to use them. It is also about the ethics behind how they use the tools, how they create tech-driven products, as you will see in the um, uh, discussion we will have in a few minutes. So, do you think there will be challenges that will affect your child's future? Yes, then which of these following challenges do you think will most affect your child's future? Global competition, stress, and mental health. Interestingly, on these notes, some of our grade 9 and grade 10 students have taken up projects to investigate the influence of social media on self image of teenagers and preteens. So they are on their way to publish some research papers and they are collecting experimental data through live experiments. So we are trying to drive change um, by empowering them to think about their own future. They are going to be in the future, and we want to equip them with taking decisions that matter most in their life. AI replacing jobs. Yes, this is a hot topic. Um, Many people actually are creating bots to replace their own roles. This is a trend I've been observing, and most of my friends also in IT are okay. If I survive these 5 years and I code this bot, I don't know what to do next. This is exactly why having a purpose is very integral to our curriculum. The fear of not having jobs is addressed. That brings us to a thought which is fundamental to our department. That is, if a child is future ready, then he is well equipped to address the challenges of tomorrow. And our curriculum here is the bridge that addresses the gap. We not just have an early curriculum that is supplementing the IB curriculum, it is a 10x curriculum that we have, which is um, very different from the other IB school curriculums. We stress more on real world adaptability. We have designed sessions where children apply the concepts they learn as theory in class through various STEM languages. And we stress a lot on resilience through failure and iteration. It is built into our curriculum. They have the scope to fail, to learn how to recover, and then do better. So, this in essence will develop the leadership skills that are most essential, and especially through empathy that drives innovation. So, how do we deliver life entrepreneurship curriculum at 10x in practice? This is what we will see next. So, first of all, we have mentoring and reflective practices at this center. We really believe in creating a purpose for ourselves. And the precursor to having a purpose is to be self aware. That is where reflective practices come handy, and they are an essential tool. So, being self aware does not come overnight, or it doesn't happen when you sit through a class of reflective practices. It needs to be followed up, and children need a guiding hand. So, we have a perfect mentoring system in our school where all the faculty are trained in mentoring, and each faculty is attached to four or maximum five students that they mentor. And the whole point of these mentoring sessions are about social emotional learning. It is about bringing out the best in the child and molding him to be the best person he can be. And academic outcomes and innovation outcomes are only a side effect of this whole valuable mentoring system that is at the heart of our school. Next, we have ecosystem partnerships with various incubators and prototyping labs. We have our own in-house incubator called Startup U. After this session, you can check out their website. So they train our students on business skills, and we have innovation curriculum that is an amalgamation of systems thinking and design thinking. And then once our students come to a point where they have a viable proof of concept, we have external prototyping labs that help us get the product to a scalable stage. So, what are these projects I'm talking about, and what is their impact? You might be wondering. So, most of our projects at 10x are social impact projects where we solve issues of social relevance. through technology. And of course, we have the Genius Day. So this is a day where we initially handhold students to figure out how they make their own decisions and understand the impact of where they're heading. It's a day to display student agency. It is a day for them. This is apart from the weekend. So they have one full day a week. It's a 4 day school, one full day a week where they can focus on um, pursuing their hobbies, um, giving time to their mental health. They can pursue anything that they are passionate about. They can also show up at school and use all the infrastructure we have, like a well built STEAM lab and everything else in our ecosystem. They can also come to places we have partnered with to volunteer and to do community service. So it's a day that is completely theirs. They can own it and also understand how consequences pan out when you make some decisions in life. So we encourage iterating. We do not pressurize children to get it right in the first shot. That's not the case, neither in academics nor in innovation. We encourage a reflection. So when you iterate, sometimes we see success and sometimes not so much. Um, and then reflection is an important aspect. Sometimes reflection happens naturally. Sometimes we'll need to handhold until students get into the habit of reflecting. So we have different reflection practices that help them reflect on their progress, if they need to pivot, not pivot, and what are the next steps. This is self-driven, self-set milestones, and finally, they themselves define what success would look like if they persevere with whatever they're doing. So this is a process, and it's cyclic, non-linear, which is what we believe in, and this is what we follow at 10x. So, parents, do you believe failure is an important part of learning? Yes, all of us agree. We are all on the same page. Failure is an important part of learning not just about how to get it right, but also about ourselves. So now I will show you some um, examples of our students' works. So how does it look like? End of the curriculum, maybe by their grade 11, what would have they done? So they will have an option to file patents. Every child that comes into 10x at some point of their journey, their 4 year journey, will get to a stage where they will have an opportunity to choose whether to file patents for their innovation. And they will have absolutely properly documented community projects. This is a must, and they will also be well equipped to publish research papers, the methodology, the practices, the on ground exposure, outside school exposure, everything will be taken care of. And they will also be imparted with the skills to let them decide if they want to build a startup that's their own. So just by having an immersive LE department, a curriculum in 10x, these are some of the pathways they can have for their future. The minimum that they get is minimum guarantee is university admissions advantage. We focus a lot on community impact. We actually believe in it. We don't do it for the sake of portfolios, but rather it's a core value that we hold. And then they have they will be empowered to decide on the different career paths they want to choose, be it being an entrepreneur or taking up a role there, something that they're really passionate about, getting into research, teaching, it can be anything. Of course, we nurture them as future leaders and innovators. So now I want to ask you a question. If your child is 17, imagine, and what achievement would make you most proud of them? So we will show you some of a patent. Yes. I will take you through a couple of projects that on their way to getting patented. I'll show what it looks like. Yes. Rent and admission in top universities. Yes. Being successful in stock market. So what I can read between the lines from all these answers is that you're looking at a child that is creative, yes, confident and self-driving, yes. So such a child, self-driving, a child that has his own style of discipline. If he is focused in whatever he chooses and puts in efforts, perfect. And if he chooses the stock market, he will be successful. So for a teenager, we would love for you to see what this success would look like. Here are some examples. So this is a project that was built in-house at 10x, and also with the help of some prototyping partners we have on board. The students have named it Sankri Tech, combining two of their names. One of the um, team members is Sanket and the other one is Krishiv. So they've it's a amalgamation of their names. What this box that you're seeing on the screen does is it measures the various parameters of a water body, still water body, that forecast what the health of the water is. By health of the water, they don't mean that if it's potable or not. It's is it good enough to have a thriving ecosystem in and around it. So after many months of research, they have concluded that in the first phase, they want to test for temperature. They want to test for the pH value of the water, then turbidity and the TDS. So they also have a small design as to how they are going to and display this data and who is going to use it. So this device can be deployed in ponds, farm ponds, lakes across Bangalore city, and yes, so the data will be live fed to whoever is accessing and monitoring the health of the lake. The reason, the motivation behind why Sanket and his partner Krishiv they chose to do this project is they are residents of Bangalore and they know how much dumping happens in Bangalore lakes. There's construction waste dumped into it. There is uh, they're highly polluted and sometimes they are dead and there's terrible stench that emanates from the lakes. They went across to BBMP offices and they figured that there is no way that you can continuously, on a daily basis, live monitor the health of a lake. So if somebody is dumping their chemical waste or construction waste into the lake only after it's gone bad and the people in the locality complain about it, BBMP takes notice and then from then it takes months to revive it. Bangalore fortunately has an ecosystem of lake revivalists. There are many NGOs dealing with the same issue. So Sanket thought, why not, have a device that will immediately raise an alarm when something is going wrong and you can act immediately. So he and his team had to iterate about 6 times. Initially, their idea was rejected twice, saying, oh, we can always take water from the pond back to the labs and then like do the tests and do whatever we have to do after it. In spite of that, they forged forward because their research was telling them that this is the direction you have to be in. They had to pivot twice because first they were thinking they will float the entire system in the lake, and then that was not a viable option. Then they said only the sensors will be in the lake, and then um, the rest of the equipment will be parked on the banks. So after so many iterations back and forth, consulting industry experts, bringing in all the electronics they needed, and then building it from scratch, doing some um, modifying existing equipment and all of that, they have finally seen success. And when initially when they started, they thought they will only monitor lake health. But when they took it to farmers, farmers were even more delighted. And they said this would help me a lot to fix problems as they arise. And so farm ponds is a new market opportunity they have identified. They are going to deploy their device after September, around October, in 10 lakes across Bangalore. And they have been working with the Comet Cares, one of our prototyping partners, to get the device up and running. And one of the NGOs in Bangalore called HSR, Hands on CSR Foundation, has agreed to help them deploy their device in their own lakes, which they revive. So now they are in grade 12. All this work has been um, done before they went for their grade 11 exams. So everything is self-driven and it's all done at 10x. And this is another project called Respire X. So as you can see, they have gone from doing some taping up to a turtleneck sweater to taping the device on themselves and monitoring their own heart health. Now it is in a place where one of the best prototyping labs in Bangalore, Purposeful, has given them a rating of 4 plus, which means it's a commercially viable design, and it is ready for commercialization. So what Respirex does is it detects a respiratory attack before it occurs. So it is placed on critical um, muscles. The sensors are placed on critical muscles in the body. So you can see here EMG placed on sternocleidomastoid. So those are the muscles that tense up before there's a respiratory attack. So once the sensor detects this, then it sends an alarm to the caregivers so that not just caregivers, also hospitals with ambulances nearby, so that in case of an attack, help is found as soon as possible. So this team also went through a lot of iterations. The next challenge for them is to make it a sleek wearable device. For this is why we have an external partner helping us convert the idea into a viable product. Um, this team surprisingly did not have to pivot many times. This is only because when they were doing their primary research and they were contacting a lot of doctors, caregivers of COPD patients, they have been 100% thorough in their groundwork. So this is Project Breathe. It is by two girls, Suchita and Amishi. They have been scouting the villages around Sarjapura, spending a lot of time talking to the women in these villages. In Sarjapur, we have a lot of migrant laborers coming majorly for construction work across the border, and they live in makeshift homes. So most of the equipment they own also is makeshift. And these girls, over a period of time, they discovered that the women use chulhas to make their food, um, or to just warm water for having a shower. Whatever it may be, it was leading to minor respiratory diseases. There was persistent cough. Sometimes, when they cough, there would be streaks of blood coming out, burning of eyes because of the smoke that comes out from a chulha. And in the colder months in Bangalore, it is very difficult to find it's completely dry fuel. So in the drier months, they stock up. And these girls discovered that fuel not being combusted fully is leading to many of these discomforts. And they also understood that these women or these families do not have the necessary documents required for an LPG connection. Sometimes, even if they do have, they cannot afford it. That is the reality. So, as you can see, the first prototype, they thought they will divert the smoke, but that just feeds the purpose. So, then they studied many other different devices in their world to see what can make it portable and what can we do to eliminate smoke inside. First, they thought of attaching a exhaust kind of a mechanism, but then they said exhaust is only going to pull the smoke out and put it somewhere else. You're still going to breathe it in. And then they decide they're going to reverse that logic and say, I am going to help aid in better combustion of the fuel for cleaner fire to come. So they have cut open a water kettle from our own dining hall, and they have attached other equipments necessary. They bought in a hair dryer fan and then uh, blew up more oxygen into the fire. So, and then from there, they transitioned into making a foldable chulha itself with cases for heat to electricity converter, the fan, and everything else. So they have figured the insulation material, the metal that they have to use, and it's still a project in progress. But many people from outside the school ecosystem have told them that they have discovered a technology that is highly patentable, and now they are on their path to filing a patent. So they have had three iterations, many more smaller ones in between for all the accessories. Rejections, many, again, three, because there are a lot of portable stoves out there in the world then. So what's making you different is the first question they've always had to answer. But um, we have them competing at a high school pitching challenge and winning 5 lakh rupees that will help them get started with their manufacturing process to distribute these chulhas. So now that you have seen some of our student works, the common thread in most of them is that they work not just for themselves or their success, but they want to impact the communities and lives of people around them. So, what excites you the most? What struck you as wow amongst these projects that you saw? So, yes, um, thank you so much for voting and joining us in today's session. The floor is open to any questions you may have.